Dreaming the world to come, spiraling in time, dreaming alive, dreaming alive, dreaming the world to come, dreaming alive, dreaming alive, can you hear our song?
I'm Rebecca.
I'm Nomi.
And this
is Dreaming
the World
to come.
This is Dreaming the World to Come, a project where we reimagine time and the ways we relate to it, where we're aligning with our ancestral Jewish traditions and also honoring the diverse voices and experiences of the diaspora from the past, in the present, and towards the future. And the magnificent humans who have been dreaming of a just world for millennia.
Rebecca and I are two of those magnificent humans, and we are both queer, non-binary, white, disabled Ashkenazi Jews and Hebrew priestesses or priestesses. We live in the Pacific Northwest on Ohlone Land, also known as the Stachos Village, known colonially as Olympia, Washington. One part of the project is a planner that combines Hebrew, Gregorian, and moon calendars, and this year's is called Indwelling Dreams of Olam, HaBa. And this podcast will be coming out at the beginning of each Hebrew month, and it'll include our takes on that month and an interview with a contributor who wrote about the month in the planner.
Do you need the planner to listen to the podcast, Nomi?
You don't, but if you are interested in exploring it further, you can find more information at dreamingtheworldtocome.com.
You can find lots of resources there for exploring radical, magical Jewish things.
Rebecca, when you think of Tishrei, what are the things that come to mind?
Well, when I think of Tishrei, I think of going to services and feeling a little bit uncomfortable from my youth and early 20s. So Rosh Hashanah was like one of the only holidays that we celebrated. So I associate going to my grandparents' house and my grandmother being dressed up, and she had all white hair since the time she was in her 30s.
Wow.
And eating apples and honey, and my grandfather's like slobbery wet kisses. And nowadays I have much more embodied experiences of the holidays, and many of which I've spent with you. Yeah. And the turning of the season from summer to fall, and the leaves starting to change. Yeah, and my favorite holiday, Sukkot, comes right after the high holidays. How about you? What are your high holiday connections?
Yeah, I mean, similarly, I think Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are kind of the holidays that, like, if you're not doing anything else Jewish throughout the year, lots of people will be like, oh, time to get dressed up and go to synagogue. And so, like, even during times of my life where I wasn't really practicing, I would still go, like, with my parents as, like, a punk rock teenager or whatever. And also, I associate, well, I just wanted to say that we don't really talk about Rosh Chodesh for Tishrei because the first day of the month is Rosh Hashanah, which is the head of the year. So we don't really say, like, oh, this is Rosh Chodesh Tishrei, the head of the month of Tishrei, because we're so focused on the whole year. But just to name that it's like the start of that bigger cycle, and it's also the start of that the smaller moon cycle. It kind of feels like this reset, or this returning.
Yeah, in the last handful or so of years, I've practiced making soul candles too, which is another one of my favorite Jewish practices. So it's an Eastern European and Russian practice of women and gender nonconforming people of measuring the parameter of cemeteries and graves with candle wicks, and then making candles during the days of awe for the living and for the dead. And yeah, I love that practice. Last year, I went with my mom. We've gone before to our ancestors' graves and measured wicks. And I was just at my family's house a couple Shabbats ago, and I was actually feeling a little bit annoyed with my parents and my brother, and we were doing Shabbat, and they like weren't saying the prayer with me and stuff. But I had brought these candles that were candles, Shabbat candles, and I just could hear all my ancestors like, "Get over it, Rebecca. Just sing the song. This is more important." And like everybody was very noisy during that moment.
That's traditional.
Yeah. They were so sweet. I mean, in the sweetest way, they were just like, the rituals, this is more important. Like, it doesn't matter. And,
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah. So one of the biggest associations that I now have with the High Holy Days is that my mom died 5 years ago, halfway in between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And the last thing she ever did, like the day before she ended up in the hospital, was go to Rosh Hashanah services and sat next to me and like basically like held court. Like people nobody knew she was dying. We didn't know, but something was really wrong, and it took a lot for her to get there. And people were asking her how she was, and like, she just was so sweet and so beautiful. And yeah, so that's a really strong association. Her name was Melinda. And then also when I was going to your Soul Candles workshop a couple of years ago, I guess it was before COVID, so a few years ago. And I was like not feeling well, but I was like, I'm gonna go. And I like had to drive up to Seattle for it. And beforehand, I stopped by my mom's grave, measured her grave with a wick, and got back to my car. And these two teenagers had stolen my phone in the like 1 minute that I was measuring my mom's grave, and I was just like, I can't do it. And I didn't make it to the workshop.
But you made it to the first one we did in like 2015 or whenever.
That was glorious. Yeah. That was so fun. Well, I just want to talk about Sukkot because I know we both love Sukkot so much. It's really special. It's the joy portal. It's like the portal through which joy is able to enter our world, and then we're able to draw on it throughout the rest of the year. Yeah, tell me your associations and experiences with Sukkot.
Yeah, Sukkot's definitely my favorite Jewish holiday. I love building the sukkah. It's so fun. And I always just build a really simple sukkah. I'll like go out to the woods at Evergreen and get some long pieces of wood, or at one point we had some bamboo growing, and just do something really simple for the structure, and then invite friends over to decorate it and hang out and sing inside and make an altar and pour water over the altar. I learned from Jill Hammer many years ago about that tradition, that in ancient times people would pour water over the altar on Sukkot because they're praying for, it's the rain holiday. That's really like the concentrated prayers for rain time. And so you give water back to the earth and hope that it will rise back up and, it be in the water cycle, be a part of the water cycle. And as things have grown in my life with Queer Mikveh Project, and as our world has become, water safety has become so more precious, and that there's been all this amazing work by Indigenous-led groups to protect our waters and bring attention to the water for everyone. I feel like there's even more potency to Sukkot in this way. Yeah.
And that we're like, the 4 different plants that are part of the lulav, they come from different climates. And so then the idea is like, it's the plant from each climate that needs the most water. And so it's like a prayer that there be enough water for everyone that needs it. And sometimes when I've made my own lulav here, I'll use like the plants that grow on my own land that need the most water. So we've done like blueberry and willow and skullcap were some that we've used. That process of building the sukkah and having it be like, we always have it in the front yard so that it's public, which I just think is a really cool thing about Sukkot, is that it's something that is shared and like brings people outside to interact with each other. And actually last year was the first year that I've lived in this house, and we built the sukkah right out front, and I like sat in there and I had like clients out there. I like had a friend over and we played a role-playing game in there. We had Shabbat there, and somebody came by and was like, oh, my grandfather built the first house that was on this land. And that we have this like external chimney outside our house that was, that his grandfather built. And he was like telling me about it. And
I love that.
just,
And the sukkah, that's so beautiful, because the sukkah, also one of the traditions is each night we invite a different ancestor, Ushpizim. And so you were like welcoming the ancestors of that land, literally, through your sukkah.
Yeah, it felt so cool. Yeah. And this year for Hoshana Rabbah, we're going to do, which is like the last day of Sukkot, we're going to have a gathering here on the land that will have music and ritual. And there's a lot of different parts of the land where I live. And so people will be invited to wander around and improvise musically. And we'll do you want to talk about the willow branches?
Oh, yeah. There's a tradition on Hoshana Rabbah or on Sukkot in general, to take willow branches and beat them. But I think Hoshana Rabbah is like the particular day where you beat the willow on the ground to embody what the rains will do and what you want the rains to do. Beating the sound of the willow on the ground and just like beckoning the prayer and that movement. And then going around the altar 7 times with the willow as well.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the other day that Sukkot is also a day where people in the ancient temple probably had an orgy, because they were again embodying what the earth to do, and that there were these big fires, torches, and I'm just imagining like this orgy with like people like beating willow on the ground, fires going. It's like wild.
Oh my God, I want that. Okay, we're not quite to orgy time with the COVID protocols, but like we have this dome here that just got built, and I foresee some Sukkot orgies in the dome at some point, or at least cuddle puddles or something of the like.
Yes.
And then also just to clarify, because you said Sukkot is a day, but I want to make sure that people know that Sukkot is 7 days, and then with an extra day at the end, which is Shemini Atzeret, that is kind of part of Sukkot too. And I always thought, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I studied one year what Hoshana Rabbah was, what Shemini Atzeret was, and I still don't quite clarify the difference.
Yeah, I always thought Shemini Atzeret was the big like water witchery day, like that's the day to say the blessings for rain. But then you were saying Hoshana Rabbah is the day that you pound the willows. So there's much more to unfold. Probably many of you have information. Please feel free to reach out to us. And we do also plan to create more of like a community space for people to share wisdom and questions and
online.
Connect. Yeah, online for now. And we encourage you to share all of your knowledge about Shemini Atzeret.
And Hoshana Rabbah and Sukkot and all the high holidays.
Yeah. Because then also there's another holiday after that, which is Simchat Torah.
Right. I love Simchat Torah.
It's so sweet. Do you want to describe it?
Well, I was going to ask you if do you want to describe it?
Well, as a kid, it's funny because it's not one that I really celebrated for many years after being a child. But when I was a kid, I remember like, wait, is that the one where you like march around? Yeah, you like march around with. Okay, so I've done it different ways as an adult, but as a little kid, I remember carrying my little brother around. He was a baby. And it's like the kids like march in a circle around the temple, and then we get chocolate Does that sound familiar at all? I don't know.
I didn't celebrate it as a kid, but I have two. It was two memories. One is at Cold Tzedek, the year I lived in Philly. It was so awesome. We unrolled the whole Torah inside. All the kids were in the middle. There are all those like stuffed animal Torahs.
Oh, yeah.
And then we did divination, where
cool.
you would like close your eyes and point to like something on the Torah. And I remember Rabbi Ariana Katz did my interpretation for my divination. And then there was a band, and we like took it to the street, and we were like singing and dancing outside, and strangers walking by were singing and dancing with us. It was awesome.
I just remembered when we were, I think you must have been there. It was Rosh Hashanah, and we were at that backyard temple in Berkeley with Kohenet. It was like a Kohenet service, and it was in the middle of like such intense drought. Like it had not rained in California for so long. And then we had the Torah out, and we had it stretched out and held up in the air, and people were like taking shelter underneath the Torah, and we were all singing. And then during that, we started hearing, well, first, before I even heard rain, I heard people whooping outside, because it started. And then it was like, then you started hearing the raindrops, and it was just like one of the biggest miracles I've ever experienced, when there's not been rain for so long, and then there is. It's like we all went outside and we're just like crying and laughing, and like that was such a blessing. Such a blessing.
Yeah.
So we're going to play Lukaza's interview, and then we'll be back to do some more fun stuff.
Dreaming alive, dreaming the world to come.
Hello. Hi, Lukaza.
Hi.
It's so good to be here with you.
You too.
Well, why don't we get started? I'll read your bio, and we can dive into some questions. And great. Okay. So I'm going to read Lukaza's bio. Lukaza Branfman-Verissimo, they, them, Lukaza, is an artist, activist, educator, storyteller, and curator who works between Ohlone Land, Oakland, California, and Powhatan Land, Richmond, Virginia. They invite the viewer to recall and share their own lived narratives, offering power and weight to the creation of a larger dialogue around the telling of Bi-QT-POC stories. Learn more at www.lukazabranfman-verissimo.com. And we're going to put all that stuff in the show notes, so you'll have easy access to it. Yeah, Lukaza and I met when you were in undergrad, right?
Yeah.
And I was doing this DIY MFA program.
I remember that.
And our mutual friend Indira Allegra invited me to come to one of your art crits that was like a kind of impromptu, just casual art crit group that you were meeting with.
Yeah. I know it feels a little bit like a blur of our meeting, like so many things happened at that moment. But yeah, I think it was probably just like a, student run crit group.
Yeah. Well, I remember it vividly because I was so inspired. It was your day to present your work. So I got to know some of your work intimately.
Yeah.
We're so glad you're here, and we're so glad to receive your amazing contribution this year to the planner. Nomi, do you want to start us off with asking some questions?
Sure. Well, I was thinking first, I just love the piece that you wrote so much, and for the Indwelling Dreams of Olam HaBa. Lukaza is our first person that we're interviewing for this podcast because they are the contributor for the month of Tishrei. So as we go into Rosh Hashanah and the High Holy Days, we get to experience Lukaza's work. And I was just thinking about how like just accessible and real the ritual that you offered is, and how it really speaks to so much of what we do in the High Holy Days with the preparation and then the celebration and then the accountability part of the cleaning up, and just how that process is mirrored in so many of our actions in the world, and just having that kind of 3-part ritual. I really appreciated it. And just calling on the ancestors and the kinds of foods we like to eat and the way we want to be in community. And it's just really beautiful. And I'm wondering if you want to share anything about the piece, or if you would like to read something from it. Yeah, what would you like to share?
Maybe I'll read like 3 lines from each section as a starting point. Setting the table, picnic blanket, room, sidewalk, chair, Zoom screen. Setting with our banners and posters. Setting with hands, spoons, bowls. Nourished by sweetness, nourished by mutual aid, supporting each other. Nourished by homegrown squash, apples, collards, radishes. Cleaning up to save the sweetness bits for next year. Cleaning up because we have to prepare the next meal. Cleaning up to imagine that another world is possible.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes. Yeah, let's see. Well, I think my kind of like thought about setting this ritual in 3 parts: the setting, the blank, the nourished by, and the cleaning up, was just thinking about the like continual and ongoing rituals throughout a beginning time of a meal or a season or a year. And I often think of this order being in any order. The cleaning up is last, but it just means that it's right next to setting up, and it's right after nourished by. And I think like any way that we mark time with calendars or with clocks, or, you know, like it feels sometimes like there's this like, okay, and now we begin for the next day or for the next year, but also like last year just ended so that we can begin into this next time. And I don't know, something about offering a ritual that had these like markers of time in a maybe less linear way felt like a important way to like invite folks as they enter into this new year.
I have chills. It feels like such a good invocation for that circular spiraling time. Thank you. I think also just the starting at night thing, it just like shifts the way we relate to time and beginnings and endings. And it's like the new thing starts right as the old thing is ending, rather than starting like the Western calendar is built more around restarting while we're asleep, which is also interesting. But I like that we get to witness that start before we go to sleep.
Yeah, we get to witness the start, and then we get to rest first. Before we start. Yeah. Well, Lukaza, I wonder, what was your experience like growing up in relation to Jewishness? I mean, I know some of it, but I think other people will be interested to hear, because you have a somewhat unique experience.
Yeah. So I think a lot of like the ways that I was raised, navigating and understanding my relationship to Judaism, I was able to share in this offering, which I feel honored that y'all greeted and welcomed all of my, connection to Judaism in this more radical way. And really beautiful to like write this ritual and be like, oh, I can have all of this part of me be shown and held. And I was raised attending a radical Jewish Sunday school called Olam. And it was, I think in many ways, set up and like held as this space that kind of centered all the identities that participants in that community held. And although we were all there coming with our like overlap as being Jewish kids, we were also representing a lot of folks were folks of color and thinking about different forms of diaspora in our identities. And all of that was kind of like held side by side. Our Jewishness with no hierarchy there, and learned of and taught of our Jewishness through like maybe a more radical political wing, very Palestinian liberation centered and taught and honored through song and history and kind of from day one, and learning of our radical ancestors who, you know, claimed their Jewish identity side by side, their organizer selves side by side, all the different kind of politics that they held within their identity. So yeah, that was my upbringing, and, you know, definitely always learned also of my Jewishness through my ancestors and great-grandfathers and great-grandmothers that were Jewish communists, and all conversations happening in one soup together. So yeah, I don't know, going to marches on May Day was a really big holiday for us at Olam, and learning like peace and justice songs were side by side, if not more important than learning Hebrew or any more traditional Jewish parts. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I can send you more info. It still exists, I think, in a different way now, just because everything is different now. But yeah, all sorts of folks who identified as Jewish in all of the ways. We had our bar and bas mitzvahs or b mitzvahs were all kind of tied to thinking about like this like marking of time, less in we didn't learn any Torah portions. It was all like our becoming and relating to this like transition moment. And so it was usually like a research presentation about some sort of intersection that we had with our Jewishness.
Do you remember what your research presentation was?
Yes, of course.
What was it?
Mine was on, I'm like, not much has changed, but mine was on resistance leaders throughout my identity. So I chose 4 different people, 2 people from my like Afro-Brazilian side of my family, and then 2 people from my Jewish American side, one of which was my great aunt Yetta, who was educator and just like incredible person in my life, someone who was blacklisted for speaking out and being part of the Communist Party, and also being an educator and working and centering folks of color. So yeah, I kind of went super personal, but also like, where am I in this like lineage of resistance fighters?
That sounds like a great community. I'm so grateful to know that you had that experience and that's available to young people. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Lukaza, for being with us today and sharing your visions of the world to come and your ritual offering. I'm excited to do this ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Happy 5783.
Overflowing sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Honey dripping everywhere, please.
Please.
Sending you both so much love, and yeah, a meal. I'm dreaming also of a meal of the 3 of us
together.
Yes,
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Actually what I'm dreaming of. Forget the other stuff, just the meal together.
Yeah.
I mean, really, if we can make the meal together happen, that is the world to come. Mm-hmm. Everybody just sit down, eat some food together, prepare together, clean up together.
Together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Clean up before the meal. And clean up after.
Clean up as a part of the meal, but also relax and enjoy the messiness.
Let the honey drip everywhere.
Sticky. More stickiness.
Yeah.
Lick the honey off of each other. COVID safe.
With test before. Oh, wow. There are a lot of barriers, but we will make some version of honey licking happen.
Yeah.
Put it on your camera screen and just...
or just really prioritize it, so then we like protect that experience by being really careful in other spaces.
Yeah, the dream is we want to lick honey off of each other. How do we get there?
Yeah, how do we get there?
How do we make that happen in a safe way for everybody? Everybody, except maybe people who are diabetic or
if honey
we'll
is not
have
the
to do
choice.
some access.
We'll have options.
Yeah,
we'll have maple syrup. We'll have fruit.
Maybe some monk fruit.
We'll also have protein at the same time.
Smart. Yes. Some salami.
Yeah, salami dipped in honey. That sounds good to me.
That sounds really good.
That's that sounds like a personal ad, but yeah.
Right. Okay. Yep.
Well, more of that. I mean, more of new language of desire that we'll offer to each other.
Yes, please.
Everybody gets their own salami.
I love this.
If you want it. If you want a jar of honey, that's yours too.
We can have a tofu salami as well.
Oh, right. Yes.
We want everyone to be included in the honey salami party.
We just want sweet and salty is essentially what we're going for. And we want everyone to be a part of it.
Yes. Safely. Yes. If there's one thing Jews can offer the world, it's sweet and salty.
I mean, it's so true. It's so true.
I have a feeling this could go on for a while.
This feels like such a good. I'm like, okay, yes, we've marked this time.
We have. Thank you so much, and have the most beautiful day. May you be so nourished.
I'm gonna actually go clean my studio, so this is perfect.
Oh, perfect! I'm gonna go eat some salami.
Amazing.
No honey, you must eat honey.
I could find some honey. I'm going to be going through some boxes for a yard sale, but I'll ask for a little honey. Look at you, Rebecca, with your salami.
Eating my salami.
You guys are a hoot. Okay, bye.
Dreaming alive, dreaming the world to come.
So during each of our podcasts, we're going to have a exercise or embodied activity for you to do at home while you're washing the dishes or while you're laying on the couch. We have made a tree, a vine, and a shrub association for each month of the Hebrew year. And these are based on my studies of the Sefer Yetzirah, which means the Book of Creation. It's an ancient magical Jewish text I've been studying for quite a while, and as well as conversations and studying with Nomi and other friends and colleagues. So for Tishrei, we've associated this month with the pomegranate. And I'd like to offer you a pomegranate meditation. So go ahead and find a comfortable space or just tune in while you're doing the dishes. Take some deep breaths. The sweetness of the new year is spilling forth like the seeds of a pomegranate. Shiny gems catching the shine of the sun. Imagine you are holding one of these beautiful fruits in your hands, in your lap, or gazing at it on your altar. Take in this sign of fertility, of love, of abundance. Take in this fruit of so many seeds and juicy gem fruits. The Talmud teaches us that the pomegranate, if it appears to you in a dream, it's a sign of increasing abundance and knowledge and good deeds in your life. So intend in your connection with this leathery skinned fruit that during the days of awe, you'll increase your abundance of good deeds, following your authentic true self in acts of service. And imagine how the sweetness of this fruit will feel like the sweetness of your good deeds. Whether it's self-care, whether it's doing something sweet for a friend or a stranger, or acts of justice and courage you may take during this time. And call on this pomegranate if you're feeling you just need some strength. The pomegranate is connected with this time of year because this is the time of year of the Gevura, the queen archetype, and pomegranate with her crown is the queen you may look to for inspiration. Drink her juice and bless her, thereby blessing you and your dearly beloveds. Pour libations of her on the earth in thanks for rich soil and ancestral seeds of connection. And take a deep breath and allow pomegranate and her essence, her spirit, her beauty to be with you during the days of awe and Tishrei.
Dreaming alive, dreaming the world to come.
So this segment is called This Way to Olam HaBa, and this is where we get to talk about cool projects that are dreaming the world to come and inspiring us as we dream the world to come, which is inherently a collective endeavor. So we need each other to call in this beautiful future that we're moving into. So one thing that we were talking about, because there's so much this month about water and the importance and health of our water systems. And we were talking the other day about the salmon returning. Like, this is the time where we live that the salmon come back from the ocean and move upstream to where they were born. And then they lay eggs and die. And it's this amazing thing that we get to see where they come in from the salt water. They kind of like hang out at this one spot, acclimating, and then move into the fresh water. And the thing is that this this specific place here in Olympia where this happens has been dammed for many, many years.
One of the places, yeah.
Yeah. A place that I'm used to being able to go and see them. So this area has been dammed for a lot of years and is being very slowly returned to being an estuary, which is like this cauldron of life. I mean, that's where like so many important life processes happen in that place of mixing between the salt water and the fresh water. And then also, oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's been this very, very polluted lake that has all this algae growth, and the species from, I believe it's from Peru, called nutria, which are really huge rodents, are living in there. And yeah, it's just hasn't been fostering the life that an estuary would. So many people, including the Squaxin tribe of this area, have been advocating for the removal of the dam, because it's also a place where like seals will hang out and just eat more salmon than is necessary.
Don't food shame the salmon. I mean, the seals. Well,
it's not the seals' fault. It's the dam's fault for making a place that traps so many salmon as they try to make their way. And anyway, so it's really inspiring that after many years of advocating to have this dam removed, it's been approved. And our prayers are that it happens speedily, because there's a lot of bureaucracy to still get through. But this is one of our visions of the world to come that is in action, in process, happening. And it's also around the same time, recently, there's a beautiful magical park near here, which has been a traditional trading area for the tribes of the Salish Sea. And it recently was renamed Squaxin Park. Yes! After being named Priest Point Park for many years. So, boo. So may many more parks be renamed and land back happen on widespread scales, and that things like returning estuaries to their natural state be the norm.
Yeah, amen. Well, we have a few announcements.
Great news is we have a Patreon now.
Woohoo!
So yes, please support us. It's many hours of work putting this together. We're also paying an editor to help us, having it ASL interpreted, and you get all the extras. You get the full contributor interview and discounts on classes and more. So check out our Patreon and join us. Even if you just want to chip in a few dollars, we're super grateful. Thank you.
Yeah. And we have the Indwelling Dreams of Olam HaBa planner. This is the third year that we have been creating this planner. Last year it was Verdant Dreams. The year before it was Golden Dreams. This year's Indwelling Dreams. And the contributors are amazing. Go to our website, dreamingtheworldtocome.com.
And I'll be teaching Soul Candles for the Days of Awe workshop on October 2nd with Jonah Aline Daniel of Narrow Bridge Candles. And you can learn more about the practice I talked about earlier in the podcast. It'll be a virtual workshop. So to find out more, you can sign up for our newsletter or our Patreon or email us at elementalactivation@gmail.com.
And I'm also going to be holding a Sukkot event here on the land where I live. I think it's going to be on Hoshana Rabbah. One of those pronunciations. If you're in the Olympia area, email us and I'll tell you more information.
And Nomi's land is really physically accessible now because they just had paths put in for to get around.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's benches, places to sit, and nice people, and lots of beautiful plants. Okay. Thank you so much. So I'm going to sing a song. That's what's going to happen now. So this song is called Creation, and it's by Taya Mashir, who is one of our teachers. And this is a version of the very beginning of the world with the Hebrew at the beginning of the Torah. Bereshit bara Elohim, which we know as like in the beginning, but this is Taya's version. She began to contract, she began to contract, she began to contract her womb. And the whole world was born, and the whole world was born, emerging from her tomb. All of the sky, all of the sea, all of the earth, inside of you and me. All of the sky, all of the sea, all of the earth, inside you and me. Bereshit bara, Bereshit bara, Bereshit bara Elohim. Bereshit bara, Bereshit bara, Bereshit bara Elohim. Kol hashamayim, kol hashamayim, kol hashamayim, ve'ed haaretz, kol hashamayim, kol hashamayim, kol hashamayim, ve'ed haaretz. She began to contract, she began to contract, she began to contract her womb. And the whole world was born, and the whole world was born, emerging from her tomb. All of the sky, all of the sea, all of the earth, inside of you and me. All of the sky, all of the sea, all of the earth, inside you and me.